Hi friends, the president of Russia, Mr. Putin, has just 2 days before declared that he is going to deploy tactical nuclear weapon in Belarus. Does it mean Mr. Putin is moving ahead to nuclear option? If so, it means he is no longer optimistic to win the war against Ukraine through conventional warfare. Here the question arises. Why Russia, being a world military power, has not yet won the war against most inferior military power, Ukraine? Even after consistent war for 13 to 14 months, this is a great surprise rather. Here there are certain factors, reason for it, that why has he not won the war so far. The first one is nationalism factor. It means that the capital of Ukraine, the current capital of Ukraine, was the original capital of Russia, the United Russia, original Russia of 9th to 10th century. And consistently the same capital, Kiev, for whole of Russia for 700 to 800 years. Besides, Kiev is also the birthplace of their godfather, all of their godfather, United Russia. And third, that this is the original place of their culture, the language, the religion, the way of life. So is the reason that Mr. Putin does not want to kill civilians or damage property. He is using minimum military power against Ukraine. People say not even 20% of his strength of Russia has been used against Ukraine so far. Mr. Putin is only interested to see that Ukraine comes out of Western clutches, that's all. Moreover, Mr. Putin has been repeatedly saying that this is not a war plan, this is not a war operation, but just a special military operation. So he has made it clear. So he is not actually warring like a war type. But here another question arises. What is his plan for deployment of this weapon in Ukraine? And if so, then with what motives, intentions? Before I come down to that particular aspect, I must make it clear here about tactical nuclear weapon. This is just a very small nuclear weapon. It's just a bomb. This could be used through aircraft warheads, small warheads, or through the short-range missiles, that's all. This is much lesser devastating than that of strategic missiles, big missiles. Whatever it is, here the question arises. What is the immediate trigger, immediate reason that Mr. Putin has decided to deploy this weapon in Belarus? Immediate reason is that Britain has just decided a few days before, or rather last month, to supply armor cell containing depleted uranium to Ukraine. This is very dangerous things that Britain has decided to give it to them. So is Putin alert. So is Putin started countermeasures so that Western countries should not supply any arms to them, so that Western countries should not provoke Ukraine anymore, so that Western countries stop pressurizing Belarus. You know, the Belarus is a military ally of Russia. This is the reason. As regards this step is concerned, this deployment of this weapon in Belarus is the first step. It marks the first step after 1990. That Russia has not frequently moving their weapons to other countries like America. America has been doing several times for several years. Another intention of Mr. Putin is to exert strategic pressure on them, Ukraine and the Western countries, by reminding them that Russia has not yet ruled out nuclear option. So he is reminding them. Then one more factor for deciding Mr. Putin to deploy these arms to Belarus. Another factor is that Belarus is strategically very significant location. It is bounded with Ukraine, almost more than 1,000 long boundary. Moreover, 3 more NATO allies. The first one, Poland, NATO ally. Second one, Lithuania. Third one is Latvia. So 3 NATO partners, 1 Ukraine. All 4 countries are bounded with Belarus. Plus Belarus is also for long distance bounded with Russia. So it's strategically very significant from war point of view. This is the reason that they have decided to deploy these arms over there. Another factor is that in the meanwhile, the president of Ukraine had declared that he wants to reclaim their earlier territory like Crimea, what Russia has annexed in 2014 from Ukraine. And then another territory what recently lost Ukraine to Russia. So he declared to reclaim these 2 territories back from Russia. Russia says, forget it. Don't even think in dreams. We are not going to lose it. If at all you make any such attempt, remember that on your side only, on your neighbor only, nuclear weapon is there. This is the strategic pressure they wanted to see. So whatever it is, all developments are there. Putin has decided to deploy this weapon in Belarus. What is the reaction of Ukraine and the Western countries? First of all, Ukraine says that he calls for immediate emergency meeting of United Nations Security Council. He says that. Then USA says that USA has not yet seen any such development on the ground so far. NATO says this is very dangerous and this irresponsible action of Mr. Putin. Then Lithuania, as I told you, the NATO partner, Lithuania says this is another threat on neighbors by these 2 countries. So whatever reaction is coming, but all reactions in fact are very mild one, not very hot one. Reason they are aware that only shifting nuclear weapon to other countries makes no any additional pressure on them. So they are not very afraid of it. Therefore they are very mild. Anyway, they have reacted. What is the response of Russia to their reaction? How Russia responded to it? Russia says that we have been requesting Western countries to remove this kind of nuclear weapon from Europe, that America had deployed it for a long time. And they are not listening to our problem. And they are now compelling us to take this step to station our nuclear weapon in Belarus close to them. This is a countermeasure. He made it clear to them. Anyway, here another question arises. Has Mr. Putin contravened NPT ruling? Has he violated the ruling of NPT? NPT means Non-Proliferation Treaty. This was concluded in 1970 between USA and Soviet Union. Purpose of this one is not to transfer nuclear weapon to other countries. So NPT stands for non-transfer of nuclear weapon, and Mr. Putin has transferred it. Has he violated the ruling? Contravened the ruling? Putin says no, not at all. We have not violated anything. He says that we have given this weapon to Belarus. But as regards the operation is concerned, control is concerned, still we retain it. Belarus cannot use it. Belarus will not use it to operate it. We have to decide. So control is still there with Russia. Therefore, we have not contravened it. Number 2, he says that Russia is doing the same thing what USA has been doing for decades. USA has deployed 4-5 countries in Europe, same kind of weapon. Tactical nuclear weapons have been deployed in 5 countries of Europe, including Germany, even in Turkey also, Belgium also, all these countries. So what America has been doing, we are just following the same thing. If we have violated, then America had violated much earlier. So this is not violated. Anyway, finally, analysis of this topic. First analysis is that many treaties have been concluded so far between Soviet Union or Russia and then USA. The purpose of such treaty is to limit nuclear weapons. Such treaties are NPT, CTBT, SALT 1, SALT 2, START 1, START 2, START 3, INF, SALT and New START. These treaties have been made so far. But these treaties applied only for the strategic weapon, not to tactical weapons, as the weapons Russia has decided to deploy in Belarus. Why? This is unfair. Had it done, perhaps Russia could have thought it, or even America could have thought it hundreds of times to shift this weapon to other countries. This is first analysis. Second way is that USA should have initiated measures when just a month back, around 21st February 2023, Mr. Putin had declared that he is suspending his participation in New START. This is a very important thing had happened. Why America did not take initiative to talk to Mr. Putin and to convince them that not to escalate nuclear tensions in the world or between us? He should have taken the initiative. Russia is a big country, considered to be a responsible country, expected to take measures, but he kept quiet. Had he taken the measure, perhaps today Putin might have not decided to station this weapon to Belarus. As I said earlier, that many number of treaties have been concluded between Russia and America. Purpose is to limit the nuclear weapons. Now the question arises, have all these treaties succeeded in their missions? The answer I am telling you, what is the ground reality? 13,500 nuclear weapons are still there in 9 countries, 9 nuclear countries, 13,500. Even 10 to 15 such weapons are enough to destroy the entire world. But 30,500 are still there. Number 2, alone America possessed 5,800 such nuclear weapons. Strategic weapons, not a small one. And Russia is even more than America. 6,375. 6,375 nuclear weapons are there with Russia. And around 1,800 nuclear weapons worldwide kept on high alert. So it seems as if the world is sitting on volcanoes. This kind of situation is here. And this volcano could be burst out any time. That would be the end of mankind and the entire civilizations. So is the need to limit. So is to restrict, make restrictions, even for moving of small arms like what Mr. Putin has done it in Belarus, or what America had done it for decades in Europe. Here is a need to make restrictions from the small, otherwise there is no end of going ahead. Just a week before, the president of China, Mr. Xi Jinping, had visited Moscow. And in Moscow, Mr. Xi Jinping and Mr. Putin had made joint statement. Both of them declared that the nuclear countries should not transfer their arms to other countries. This has happened just 1 week before. And what happened within 2 days only? Mr. Putin acted just opposite to it, reverted back. One day he says that no transfer of such weapons to other countries, and another day, within 2 days, he just reverted back, says no, we are going to transfer the weapon to Belarus. What is the meaning? So Mr. Putin has lost credentials worldwide. Talk something today and some just opposite to it, you talk something after 2-3 days. However, now USA and their allies or NATO condemning USA for this action. But USA forgets one thing, that USA has done the same thing in many more countries decades earlier. USA had deployed decades before this same kind of tactical warfare, tactical weapons to Germany, Belgium, Italy, Netherlands, Turkey. So America should condemn Russia, no doubt, but before that, he should decide to withdraw all these weapons from Europe, all these 5 countries. Otherwise, Russia has no moral right to say against Mr. Putin that what I am doing is correct, what the same you are doing is incorrect. This cannot be done. And they should not play with the life of the entire world. And finally now, is there any role of India to mediate? Here are the 2 reasons that India should mediate it. First, to defeat Chinese efforts to mediate. China has recently mediated 2 things. First, Saudi Arabia and Iran, they have become friends now. This should have been done by India, but China has done it. Another thing that recently, he had gone to Moscow, as I said earlier, submitted 12 points for mediation, though he did not succeed, but he tried. So India has the opportunity to defeat Chinese efforts of mediation. India, after all, is a leading non-aligned country in the world. And number 2 is, one thing India can do, that India is the chairperson of G20. He can constitute a committee of nations to look into the matter so that this could be mediated. Peace should be retained over there in Ukraine and Russia. And nuclear threat should be stopped. This is what I hope India will play a vital, active role. Thank you very much to all of you for listening to me.